Hello. Shoot. I am still coughing. Um I don't um I really don't like throwing around the term anti-Semite. And I would like to think that I never do that. I don't throw it around. I use it when it is applicable and only when it's applicable. Um, which is one of the reasons I am generally opposed to saying anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Anti-Zionism doesn't have to be anti-Semitism. When it becomes anti-Semitism is when it becomes a problem. And it is a problem. And unfortunately, I spent way too much of Yom Kippur thinking about anti-Semitism. Um, this channel I have been addressing Zionism, anti-Semitism, and similar things since the very beginning. I included in the in the description a video I made. I think it was like 3 years ago. Introduced it's called Introduction. It's from January 21st, 2021. So yeah, almost 4 years ago. Discussing exactly what is anti-Semitism, what isn't anti-Semitism. So I had an interaction with Ana Kasparian on Twitter. I was really shocked at the anti-Semitism that she displayed. First, I just have to address this. If you're gonna make the really stupid argument that Arabs are Semites, just call it Jew hatred. Just every time I said anti-Semitism, just switch it with Jew hatred, because that's what the word anti-Semite means. That's its origin, and that's how we're using it. So use Jew hatred if you prefer. Stop making stupid semantic points. But let's talk about what Ana Kasparian tweeted out and my interactions with her. So this is her tweet, which is in response to somebody else. There's only so much I'm going to go back. You can find the tweet online here. I will put it into the chat just in case somebody wants to see it. Okay. And you can look at the further context there if you like. What I understand is that the Democratic Party is currently overseeing, funding, and enabling the endless slaughter of Arabs and Muslims in the Middle East right now. Now, I have to say, for the longest time, I did not know Ana Kasparian was Armenian. I knew that she and Cenk Uygur were the hosts of the Young Turks, and being of Middle Eastern origin and knowing my history, I could not bring myself to watch a show called The Young Turks, because I just assumed that both of them were, even though Kasparian is an Armenian name, I just assumed both of them were just young people who were too stupid and didn't know their history enough to know who the Young Turks were, and that they presided over an actual genocide. And and I'm not going to get into this whole thing whether the Armenian Armenian genocide was an ethnic cleansing or a genocide, because that's a Turkish talking point I really hate engaging in. I could not bring myself to watch The Young Turks because of the name of the show, assuming that the people who ran the show also didn't actually know the history of the Young Turks. Then I found out that Cenk Uygur was an active denier of the Armenian genocide when he named the show The Young Turks, and it took him forever to finally be able to acknowledge the Armenian genocide. A few years ago, finally, and then the Young Turks started calling themselves TYT instead. But this should tell you something about who Ana Kasparian is. She obviously has ridiculous outgroup loyalties, because, frankly, I mean, how an intelligent Armenian human being can bring themselves to work for a man who actively denies the Armenian genocide and is on a show called The Young Turks. Like, whatever. Her recent red pilling has been great. I am happy that she's apologized for half of the stupid things she has done. I hope she moves all the way, but this was just too much for me, and then she engaged with me. So, yeah. So excuse me if I don't give a single F about how anyone is pronouncing anyone else's goddamn name. I actually agree with her. Trump is no better. False. Trump is much better. But aren't Democrats supposed to be? Whatever. But okay, Nancy Mace intentionally mispronounced a powerful black woman's name to be a massive jerk. I agree with this point. Congratulations on this extremely important concession. Poor terrorists, the Younger says. I agree with the Younger. And this is where the blood libel comes in. Right. All the infants Israel happily slaughtered with our bombs, you're vile, disgusting. Well, someone's vile and disgusting, but that would be Anna. So first of all, notice that she's claiming now with the bombs, right? So, and later on, she'll be going on the, it seems now discredited New York Times article, which also doesn't prove her point. But this idea that Israel is happy to murder Palestinian children is so absolutely, completely irrational and wrong. It is definitely anti-Semitic and playing into the anti-Semitic trope of the blood libel. And I can explain to you for multiple reasons why that is. Right? First of all, there is zero rational reason why Israel would prefer to kill civilians. And if you've been following what's been going on in Israel and the West Bank and Gaza, you would know that Israel has what actually a lot of people think is a criticized, a much criticized policy of maiming terrorists, right? So as far as terrorists go, forget civilians, right? We're talking about actual terrorists. So what Israel deliberately does is maim them. So Operation Grim Beeper, right? They deliberately put a small enough amount of munitions in the the beepers, in order to cause damage. So the beepers were apparently designed so that if you got a coded text, you had to push two buttons, which generally meant most people would use it two-handed to look at the coded message. And they sent one of these coded messages, and you can see the pictures of the people who've been wounded holding it, looking at it, right? Small amount of explosives, so maimed hands, blind, right? This is optimal for Israel. Optimal for Israel. Now, I'm not saying this is a kind strategy, but it is a much smarter strategy than actually killing people. Why? Because a lot of people look at dead versus injured, and this is really how Israel found out about it. I mean, there have been, especially people on the left, but Palestinians who've been using this particular strategy of deliberately maiming instead of killing, because it works so much better on your side, right? You're harming someone, putting them out of commission generally, but worse than putting them out of commission, they become a walking, talking billboard for a peace, for peace and no longer fighting. And right, when you kill someone, they become a martyr. Their family becomes enraged, wants vengeance, right? When you maim someone, their family has to take care of them. They become a burden on the society. They often because of what actual terror is, right? They tend to want peace. And you can look up the history of this. Israel has been shooting Palestinians in the legs, and it has become a sort of marker of this is a militant to have a prosthetic leg or arm in the West Bank and Gaza. Okay, so the idea that it's completely nonsensical that Israel would prefer to actually kill people. That's just it's absolutely not true. It's completely irrational. It's just playing into the blood libel, which is this idea that Jews just like, apparently, to kill little babies, right? For no good reason. Like, they get nothing out of it. They're just horrible people, right? So I tweeted that, and I wrote, Anna asserts the government of Israel is happily slaughtering babies. Oh, maybe I should keep on going on the thing. Well, Jake says it's perfect. Yeah. Where was it? Happily? Are you serious? You think Israelis are happily killing infants? And her response is, the government, absolutely. So she's saying it's not that Israel is reluctantly, it's not that Israel is not doing enough to, so that criticism, Israel is not doing enough, right? Frankly, I don't think that's a criticism that can ever have any rational end to it, because what exactly is enough, right? And so it's not a criticism I level. Obviously, I think that Israel should not be targeting civilians, and I think they should be doing all that is reasonable to avoid civilian casualties, not just because of the humanitarian reasons, but actually because every civilian killed really does harm Israel's, like, pragmatically. It's a bad idea, right? It's morally and pragmatically a bad idea, which is why it's this entire genocide, Israel trying to commit genocide thing is just so silly. If Israel is attempting to um, to perform a genocide, they are really, really bad at it. They are really, really bad at it because they're definitely failing. Okay. So I quote tweet this. Anna asserts the government of Israel is, quote, happily slaughtering babies. Literally blood libel, which it is. Is it also stealing communion bread to torture it? Anna responds with this article from, I think it's the New York Times now. So, American doctors who provide medical care to Palestinians in Gaza speak of witnessing children as young as 5 shot in the head and chest. Now, we have been discussing this. I hate to say it. I hate to even think about it. Having grown up in Iran and witnessed the martyr parades, I think there's a much simpler explanation that's too horrible to even think about than Israel is deliberately doing something stupid that would make it. And there's been analysis of the radiographs. And as I said to somebody else, if this was actually happening, I would expect Hamas to be having and Doctors Without Borders to be conducting autopsies on video and distributing it, because that's what they would do, right? These are children who have died in Gaza. They're going to Doctors Without Borders hospitals. I see no reason why there wouldn't be videos and more proof than there is of this if it was actually Israel that was doing it. Frankly, the only reasonable explanation I know of this is really, really horrible. But in any case, it's still not in any way proof that Israel is happy, which is the anti-Semitic. Like, if you're going to say Israel is not doing enough, that's not an anti-Semitic accusation. To say Israel is not doing enough, that's only an anti-Semitic accusation if you are applying a different standard to Jews than you do to anybody else, which most people who say Israel is not doing enough do. But it doesn't necessarily have to be an anti-Semitic accusation. But this accusation, that with completely no facts whatsoever, that Israel is doing something patently evil and idiotic, right? This is the type of propagandish, like cartoonish evil, like Netanyahu eating babies type Gestapo shit that anti-Semites say, right? Which is cartoonishly stupid. And that's what Anna is doing here, right? So I responded, and that is proof that the Israeli government ordered this? You are smarter than this, Anna. Every child that dies makes Israel's position in the world weaker. There's no rational case for Israel to make a policy, right? And she said they're happy. So that's beyond, like, reluctantly making a policy that makes sense, right? No, you are implying emotions to a government, right, which uses anti-Semitic stereotypes in it. That is anti-Semitism. It is no more sensible than torturing bread, gleefully torturing bread, I have to say. Her response then doubles down on her anti-Semitism. Look, I understand how powerful identity is. What? Now it's because I'm Jewish? You're dismissing my argument, which is like, hello, what's your proof that Israeli government ordered this? She's dismissing it merely because I am Jewish. That is what is called anti-Semitism. Call it Jew hatred if you prefer. I get that you feel personally attacked when confronted by this reality. No, I don't feel personally attacked when I'm confronted by this reality. I was very active in the anti-Zionist movement, which stopped calling itself the Jewish anti-Zionist movement stopped calling itself the anti-Zionist movement because we don't want to be identified with anti-Semites, and started calling itself the non-Zionist movement. And I still proudly call myself a non-Zionist. I have huge, my identity is in no way caught up with the state of Israel. Okay? Anybody can check. I have thousands of hours and years of videos on my channel. This is bullshit. You are equating being Jewish with being a Zionist, which is itself anti-Semitism, and just wrong. You shouldn't. If anything, you should dig deeper and ask how it is that there's a prevalence of kids showing up to the hospital with bullet holes in their heads. Oh, I unfortunately, being Iranian and having been in Iran as a child during the Iran-Iraq War, and watching the regular parades of martyrs throughout my childhood, vividly remembering it, the celebration of death. I remember quite vividly as a child. I know I have pretty good idea why there would be such things. And you're not going to like the answer. But attacking me because I am Jewish is anti-Semitic. Make your point. Actually make your point and show me how you know that Israel, other than your anti-Semitism and blood libel, that Israel is happily, you used the word happily, slaughtering infants with bombs initially, you said. So I responded, I quote tweeted, pure anti-Semitism. The reason I didn't believe her evidence-free accusations is that I am Jewish. Just unadulterated anti-Semitism. And that's what it is. Just unadulterated anti-Semitism. Let's see what the people say. Dancing Jews, basically, yeah. Anna doesn't hate Jews. I'm rooting for Israel over the Islamists. However, that doesn't absolve the chosen ones for spitting at Christians. First of all, spitting at Christians, yeah, they shouldn't do it. But that's completely like a whole other thing than accusing people of murdering babies. Like, if you cannot understand the difference between, well, first of all, I have to say, nobody even spit on Christians. They spit in the direction of Christians. And yeah, they shouldn't do that. But completely, like, if you don't understand the difference here, you've lost your mind. Okay? Where were we? Are you America first? Yes. As I put on my Twitter, Um, if by Zionist you mean someone who attaches religious significance to the state of Israel, I am an anti-Zionist. If by Zionist you mean someone who thinks I should owe a special duty to the state of Israel, I am a non-Zionist. And if by Zionist you mean Jew, I'm a Zionist. Like it's all based on how you're defining the word Zionist. Shavua Tov, my dear friend Chezi, despite the fact that you are a Zionist, Chezi is my Zionist friend, who I love very much despite all of his mistakes. The world's opinion basically doesn't matter. They have the backing of the U.S. industrial infrastructure, aid, military, and government. Israel doesn't have to pay that back their loans. The U.S. Taxpayer does. First of all, this isn't true. Like U.S. Israel is a cat's paw of the U.S. It really is. It really, really is. In every way. And I am not sure. I am not aware of any loan forgiveness program that's actually gone through with Israel. The United States gives military aid to Israel because Israel does the United States bidding and is the United States cat's paw in the region. And frankly, it's not just the United States, it's really Saudi Arabia as well. Saudi Arabia is at least partially funding Israel, but obviously that's not something you can say too much. But Ana Kasparian, you misspelled Anna, is an amazing, wonderful woman. God bless her. Well, God should bless her with all manner of good, including more intelligence than she seems to have. Yeah. Okay. I think I am done with this stream. I hope it was very clear. I don't just throw the accusation of anti-Semitism around. This is, Anna is slowly leaving the brainwashing of the left. My hope is it will be better than it was. But yeah. Okay, I have no idea who that is. I think I am going to go ahead and end this stream. And well, like my Rav Bullman at Or Sameach once said, some brains need washing; they're filthy. So I am going to start another stream talking about the Lord of Spirits podcast and their 100th anniversary, because it was really interesting. And so I will be doing that, but I wanted to clarify this again. I mean, if you think that I am just throwing the word anti-Semitism around or accusations, and I didn't actually explain how precisely what she was saying was exactly anti-Semitic, right? Using and I mean, there's the whole 3-hour video in which I explain exactly what I mean by anti-Semitism, linked in the description below. Feel free to explain precisely what your problem was with all of the arguments I made in the comments. And probably we'll see you in another stream soon. Bye-bye.